Welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of February 1st, 2021. Every week we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. I'm Terri Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hi there.
This week we are complaining about some of the highs and lows parents experience and obsessing about our wild childhoods. We're also taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today we are talking about genealogy and ancestry. So Nicole, you recently had one of those DNA tests done?
I did. Of course, as I start speaking, Missy has joined us.
You know, you can get your dog's genealogy tested too.
I know.
I have done that.
You have? Oh, no, I haven't done that yet.
Well, Missy's saying get on it, man.
I mean, we paid a lot of money for her to be a purebred.
I know,
so
she's supposed to be a purebred.
Yeah, I want to check because I have my suspicions. I think on Boxing Day, these AncestryDNA kits were on sale, and my husband had done one a couple of years ago, and it was actually kind of fun to get his results because who he turned out to be wasn't who he thought he was. So it was a lot of fun because he took pride in this one kind of what he thought he was, and his family took pride in it, and they always talked about, how they were this and how special it was, and then of course it turned out he was not. And so I've since taken great joy in pointing out. So he did that. And then I saw it on sale on Boxing Day, not on Boxing Day, but on Thanksgiving, Black Friday. We're talking about. And so I did it. It took about 8 weeks. It was a long time. So I finally got mine back. Well, it turns out that I am actually a lot come from different areas of the world than I thought I would. But I'm definitely far more, my DNA is far more concentrated than what my husband's is. So
more of a purebred, huh?
So I've taken great pleasure in, because he used to say that, oh, you're a mixed bag because because my dad's side is British and my mom is Australian. And of course, Australians largely compose of people from England who were unceremoniously asked to leave and resettle. And so, I used to get a lot of jesting about, my convict background, right? So, anyway, but it turns out that actually my DNA is largely comes from England and then surprisingly Scotland. I did not think that I had any Scottish, but I'm almost half Scottish, which is so bizarre because never thought, but, it allows you to pay a little bit extra money, and you can get these traits based on your DNA that you're likely to have. Mm-hmm. And one of them was that you're most likely to pass on red hair to your children. Well, Kristen has always had strawberry blonde hair. She always had this, red streaks going through her hair. And we always thought it was from my mother-in-law. Well, no. It's clearly from me.
Seems like there's some old scores being settled with this.
It's awesome. There's a lot of great stuff that is, has come about because of it.
AncestryDNA doesn't advertise as to how many divorces take place after their product is used.
Yeah, or I know of somebody who has done it and actually learned about a half brother that that person didn't know about. And so before I did it, I asked my parents if there is any reason why I should not. And
seems wise.
Yes. So, but it's fun. What will be interesting is that my mom did one. My mom's an identical twin, and her twin did one. So it'll be interesting to see if they come up as 100% DNA match. I'm kind of curious to see if that happens. Because what it does is it takes your DNA and then they match it to DNA that's close to you, and that's how you discover like your cousins and your relatives, right?
Huh.
And so yeah, no, it's been fun. I've actually connected with a cousin in England that I met when I was like 10 and haven't seen since. It's like a third or fourth cousin, and he came up on the little registry that they have, and we've been chatting. So yeah, and it's fun. I mean, people are leery about giving their DNA away, but it's a fun little thing. I don't know. It's just right now it's harmless, so.
Sounds like such a possibility to open a can of worms.
It could, yeah.
I just back slowly away. Like, happy with my life the way it is, don't really need to know anything else.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Many people are curious.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of, and I also grew up in a very small family, and I only ever knew of one cousin on my dad's side, a handful on my mom's side. Like, I just always kind of grew up feeling like, you know, I only have one sibling myself. So just very, very small family. And this is really kind of opened up, because even somebody on my mom's side has contacted me and said, you have all these cousins in Southern Australia. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, so it kind of feels like, wow, okay, I actually do have a lot of people I'm related to in this world. So I don't know. Maybe it's just that feeling of just wanting to belong. I don't know. Would you guys ever do it, or have you done it, or know of anybody, or anything interesting?
A long time ago, my parents gave us, National Geographic was doing it, like as part of some sort of big research study.
Right.
And so we did it. But as I recall, at the time, it was like very broad information. Like, first of all, it wasn't hooked up to Ancestry.com, so it wasn't giving you any, like, hey, you're related to this person kind of stuff. It was just like, you're about this percent, not even British, but it would be like Northern Europe or something. Like, it was just not very specific.
You were born on Earth.
Right, exactly. You are human. So I didn't find it that interesting, because it just didn't seem to give me much more than I already knew.
Right.
But as I said, this was quite a while ago, and it wasn't affiliated with, you know, Ancestry or 23andMe or any of those services where they kind of make like a big network out of it.
Right.
So that obviously has its pros and cons, depending on what you want out of it. So
right. Yeah. Do you think you would do it again with the Ancestry one?
I might. I don't know. It would also be interesting for my kids to do it, because my husband and I have such different, at least according to what we've been told, you know, that we both have very different backgrounds. So my kids are even more like,
right,
you know, melting pot than ours.
But see, what's so interesting is that my husband and I, we are different, but we still come from similar areas. But I always thought we were vastly different, right? But it turned out that we weren't that far away from each other. It's just that he ended up really not being who he thought he was. So that was
wow.
It's like the commercials where the person starts out like wearing a kilt, and then they change into like, I don't know, an Italian outfit or whatever.
Yeah. So
that's what happened to him.
Exactly. He's like, oh, okay. Now I'm this.
I have to throw away these lederhosen.
Exactly. No, it was fun. How about you, Terri? So you don't sound like that's something you're going to buy into.
I have no interest whatsoever. I'm an old person. I'm pretty happy with who I think I am right now. Not looking for any major revelations. Not looking to reconsider everything I know about myself. Really, I'll just stand pat, you know? I'm not all that interested in the relatives I do know about. I don't necessarily need to find a bunch more or hook up with ones I haven't seen since I was a kid. That's okay. I can find them on Facebook if I want them, probably. And, not so much. So, I'm a little island over here. I'll just keep on keeping on.
But you also grew up with a lot of family, though. It seems like it
can only be trouble.
But I feel like you already know a lot of your family, or you had a big family. Like you...
I did not. Well, I mean, I was an only child, and I have a half-sister who's 18 years older. And we had some cousins we would see when I was growing up, but I'm really not from a big family, I don't feel like. And I would like to keep it that way. That's just fine. I'm a terrible relative. I'm really a very bad relative. I'm a bad aunt. I'm a bad half-sister. I'm a bad cousin. Nobody else needs to be related to me. It's fine. It's fine. I have a small circle of immediate family members and chosen friends and podcast buddies, and I'm good.
You're good.
You're
happy with that.
How about like family history or tracing?
Who cares?
That kind of. Yeah, don't care.
Not.
We have like I'm
all about the now, man.
Right. My dad's had an uncle at one time who did a lot of work tracing the family.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting to read about.
Mm-hmm.
But we keep losing the like handwritten notebook where somebody needs to scan that bad boy because it's really going to get lost. But that's interesting, I think.
Yeah, I can see why people are interested in it, but I'm just not.
I mean, what do you think your kids would ever do it, Terri? Because they might.
Well, my kids have they might do it for their own, but I don't know. With adoption, it's a whole other thing, I guess, if they wanted to find distant cousins. I would not discourage them if they wanted to, but I'm not going to encourage them. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't really come up.
Right.
So,
that's fine. That's just fine.
They have no interest in my particular background, and I don't think my son would ever care, but my daughter might, and that's fine. Go.
And what about your husband? No, not interested.
I think he's pretty much knows he's like 100% Sicilian, so he doesn't have too much. He's not. I don't think it would interest him.
No.
I don't think I think he feels like me, like he's got enough family members, thanks. That'll be good. He does have a much larger and more geographically nearby family than me. So he has cousins who he grew up with and who are still around, who we still see at weddings and things like that. Wow. So I think he feels adequately familied at present. But he has never brought it up. And again, I would not buy it for him. So we are, Ancestry DNA and 23andMe will have to turn to you guys to make their bucks.
They'll make their money off of me.
Maybe next time you get a rescue dog, you'll do it that way. Because that is fascinating.
I would love to know about that. That is cool. That is very cool.
We get mutts. I don't care.
That's why it's fun, because you look at this dog and then you get the DNA that says, like, they're part Malamute, and you're like, what?
We did have a German Shepherd once that somebody said must be mixed with a greyhound based on her hips and back legs, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting combination, but...
Right.
But we loved her just the same as she was without having to look into it specifically. So, I don't know. Not that curious a person, I guess, is the...
This is what we're learning.
Yeah, this is what we're sensing.
This is your takeaway today. Terri's kind of...
You're just fine. Thank you very much.
I am just fine with exactly the information I have at this moment.
Yeah.
And you're just fine talking it all out on the podcast.
On the podcast.
Sharing information instead of gathering it.
If you listen to this and think you may be related to me, keep it to yourself.
That's it for today's round 1. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round 2 and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.